This is News 8 Now, this morning.
I would argue she's one of, if not the kindest and most well-intentioned persons that I had ever had the privilege of knowing. No one else comes to mind that would exceed her in this respect. She deserved the world and so much more.
I'm not interested in creating more LGBTQ plus people. A book can't even do that. What I am interested in is making sure that young people realize the diversity of sexual expression in the animal world.
It is a wonderful way for us to connect to our past. We can learn in a different way than just reading in history books, that through theater and performances we can still connect to our history.
Good morning, everyone. That was your morning eye-opener. I'm Jeremy Wall.
I'm Greg Barnhart.
And it's good to have you back, my friend. Again, we are working together this weekend, and viewers get to start their week off with us. It is June 26, 2023. I still cannot believe we're in the final week of June.
4th of July.
And one thing I'm still not over, Greg, is just the turnover from Memorial Day to July 4th. It's so quick. There's like a 5-week difference. It reminds me a little bit of the turnover between Christmas and Thanksgiving.
And it's not going to be much between 4th of July and Labor Day. It's not going to be. It's going to go pretty quick. So.
Or rather, Thanksgiving and Christmas, because one holiday comes right before the other.
So it's going fairly quick.
Yeah. Well, big question. How are we looking out there today? Is that 60s I see?
Yeah, definitely. It's going to feel a lot cooler than what we've felt. I mean, even though our temperatures will be not too bad today, mid to upper 70s, definitely what we've been used to is really the 90 degrees for the most part. So really right now it's actually mid 60s, but you can feel that north wind kind of coming around right now. So that's keeping the temperatures okay, but we have a lot of cloud cover out there also. So overall the wind speeds have 10 to 15 miles per hour. It's out of the north, the low is to the east, so we're getting that northerly wind. So it does feel a little chilly out there, once again, just because we haven't been used to these kind of conditions. Overall, there's your precipitation out to northeast Wisconsin. That's what's wrapping around that low. We're going to see more of the possibility of a shower or two probably late this morning, maybe early afternoon before things wrap up, but a lot of areas will stay dry. There's your chance of rain probably 11 to 1 p.m. It's just a slight chance, but we could see a shower or two. Decreasing clouds there this afternoon. You see those temperatures mid 70s, and as we go through the evening hour, we'll still be holding the 70s. What we got coming up on all the weather, when we'll time out where those showers might be, this week's temperature outlook, and those rain chances that we got coming later this week, Jeremy.
Thanks, Greg. Let's get to some news this morning. 27-year-old Madeline Kingsbury was remembered by loved ones this weekend at a memorial service in Winona. The Winona mother went missing in March after dropping off her kids at daycare. Investigators found her remains earlier this month. Adam Fravel, the father of Madeline's children, was arrested hours later. Now a community honors her memory. Kingsbury's memorial service was held at Winona State University. Madeline's loved ones spoke at the ceremony honoring the woman she was and the life she lived.
I would argue she's one of, if not the kindest and most well-intentioned persons that I had ever had the privilege of knowing. No one else comes to mind that would exceed her in this respect. She deserved the world and so much more.
Madeline's siblings shared stories about Maddie. Her sister Megan read a passage from Madeline's journal where she listed the things she was grateful for. Among many things, she listed the beauty of nature, her friends, and family. Megan reflected on the hurt she and Maddie's loved ones are feeling, but she also pointed to hope.
Maddie saw beauty in all of us and wouldn't want us to remain broken. The path to healing will be long and twisted. The destination seemingly out of reach. Each step is arduous. I encourage everyone to take comfort in the fact that Madeline is no longer alone and she's no longer suffering.
Megan says Maddie cared deeply for others in every way, including her young children. She says she and her loved ones will forever remain loud for Madeline. Gunderson Health System employees took a moment to remember one of their former colleagues. Carol Wittenberg passed away 2 years ago after her battle with breast cancer. An avid supporter of Stepping Out in Pink, her family, friends, and co-workers held a gathering at her memorial at the Onalaska Trail to promote the final push for early bird registration for this year's event. Carol's husband says that the event always held a special place in her heart.
Stepping Out in Pink was her baby. She was involved in it for so many years, I believe from the very beginning. It was her big passion.
One of Carol's co-workers said that her dedication to stepping out in pink was something she admired.
Every year it was, I'm sorry, I have to get over there and be part of the t-shirts. She not only volunteered as a walker every year, but she volunteered her time in making sure other walkers got what they needed.
If you would like to see Carol's memorial, it is on the trail near the Onalaska Clinic. Early bird registration for Stepping Out in Pink is $20 and ends Thursday. For more information, we will have a link on our website. That's news8000.com. Part of Central High School will reopen this week after a fire forced the district to close the building. According to the La Crosse School District, building crews are working with Xcel Energy and fire officials to reopen the Hackett Addition. Summer school classes, sports practices, lessons, and other activities will start up again today. The district asks that everyone uses the Travis Street doors, as the rest of the high school will remain closed until further notice. Earlier this month, the GET Reconsideration of an Instructional Resource Committee met and voted to ban the book Queer Ducks from its middle school library. The vote was rescinded after the committee determined its vote had been taken illegally. This allows the book back on middle school shelves for now, but its permanent status is still up in the air. Here's a closer look at the book and an introduction to people on both sides of the debate.
Like it or not, a book is judged by its cover. Queer Ducks by Elliot Schrafer is no exception.
It's a kind of summary of the explosion of research within the scientific community in the last 30 years into animals that change sex over the course of their lives, the same-sex behavior among animals.
It's illustrated with comics that follow one message.
In a way, Queer Ducks is just a way of saying, like, look, we've been way too narrow about what is natural within nature, and there's many, many different ways to be in the world.
A media review committee met and voted to pull the book off the shelves after complaints from the community that argued the book encouraged sexual grooming. Board member at the time, Paul Kinzer, says the committee voted it out for different reasons.
They went straight to, is it age appropriate?
Schrafer said that it is.
I'm not interested in creating more LGBTQ plus people. That a book can't even do that. What I am interested in is making sure that young people realize the diversity of sexual expression in the animal world.
But news of the committee's vote brought the community out in force.
Adversity makes us stronger. Learning makes us wiser.
Silence gets us nowhere.
Including GET parent Carrie Marley.
We need to support all of the kids in the schools. If we take away the resources of these books, the kids don't have those resources to know that they're normal.
And she isn't alone.
Because there are children hurting.
At the board meeting, member Kinzer asked the board to recognize the LGBTQ community, who he says the committee hurt.
If you hurt someone, your job is to make them feel better. And I felt like we were not doing that.
When that didn't happen, Kinzer resigned.
That's all. This is about harming already oppressed people. And we have to do our best to never, ever do that.
But some parents agree with the committee.
I would think it would be more appropriate to have it in the high school instead of the middle school. And in including the LGBTQ community, how can we find books that would maybe be appropriate that wouldn't have the sexually explicit language?
Mom Stacy Klein wants that choice to be up to the parents.
I think it's really important that we separate that symbolism of supporting that, any community, and then the actual content of the book.
But for the author, keeping the book on shelves means something.
But knowing it was there would mean there's someone that acknowledges that, like, this is a way to be that like we can talk about and include. Even just a small show of support, which including a book in a library is really important.
From cover to cover. In Trempealeau County, Emily Haugen, News 8 Now.
GET Board President Larry Moore said in an email that the original members of the committee that voted to remove the book will have to meet again to discuss the status of it. The school board itself has no role in the content complaint process. No date and time is scheduled yet, but Moore says the board hopes to plan to figure out how so many mistakes were made so they do better moving forward. This week, community members had a chance to learn more about the people who helped make La Crosse what it is today. On Saturday, the La Crosse County Historical Society hosted its 24th annual Discover the Silent City event at the Oak Grove Cemetery. Each year, the cemetery provides a guided walk-in tour through the burial ground that features theatrical performances based on La Crosse's past. The theme for this year's tour was Feeding La Crosse, focusing on food manufacturers, grocery store owners, and restaurant owners of the region. The Winona County Historical Center and Friends of the Homer Town Hall teamed up to celebrate Homer's heritage. Organizers of the event invited the public to tour the river town and enjoy 3 historic treasures located there: the Bunnell House, Homer Methodist Church, and the Homer Town Hall and Schoolhouse. Visitors enjoyed live music, root beer floats, and hundreds of books available for sale, along with shirts. One resident says it's important to host community events like this one.
It's important bringing back the community, especially after COVID, the neighbors back together. But yeah, just a matter of, people move away, or just bringing back the vital that people really want to get together here in town. So, just important to Homer.
Organizers say they hope to make this a more annual event. The vote for the future of the Homer Town Hall has been scheduled for March 2024. Over in Brownsville, Minnesota, the local Lions Club sponsored its annual Brownsville Days. The 2-day event started off with a co-ed softball tournament and continued the next day with a car show and parade. With games and inflatables for the kids, live music, and even a beanbag tournament, there was something for everyone to enjoy. One of the organizers for the festival says it's a way for the Lions Club to say thank you to the community.
Brownsville Days has been going on for 35 years. Brownsville Lions Club sponsors it. And it's just giving back to the community, so we're raising money for our community. And today we've got the Dave Phillips Memorial Car Show. It's the 5th anniversary of the car show.
Okay. Organizers say that they enjoy having thousands from the surrounding area celebrating their river town with them.
This is the biggest event in the fishing world.
The 14th annual High School Fishing World Finals and National Championship was held in La Crosse. Hundreds of anglers from around the world went head-to-head on the Mississippi River catching bass for millions of dollars in college scholarships. La Crosse first hosted this tournament in 2020, but this time around, competitors got a real taste of what the city has to offer.
The community has just had overwhelming support, and I know it's hard because all of a sudden 4,000 people descend on your local boat ramp and the streets are packed and all. Sometimes it's not a lot of fun, but La Crosse has really done well. The community's really welcomed these families here, and we appreciate it.
Good ones, guys. 9 pounds.
Cartilage says the week-long tournament brought nearly 4,000 people to the area.
Hey, thank you so much. Appreciate you doing well done.
That's a big bag of smallies. Still ahead on your morning news, a popular children's toy is being recalled due to a high risk of injury to children. And consumers are reacting to the removal of AM radios from electric cars. That and more coming up this morning. Alrighty, for now, we're sending you to break with something to put the good in your morning. We've got royalty in town. Trinity Horseman of Onalaska was crowned Miss Wisconsin's Teen 2023. Miss Wisconsin representatives said in a release that the 17-year-old won over $2,000 in scholarships and a chance to compete for Miss America's Teen 2023. She was picked from a field of 19 contestants in Oshkosh. Now she will spend her year of service championing the Children's Miracle Network. Congratulations. Don't go anywhere. Your consumer news at News 8 Now this morning is after the break.
Yeah, overall, it's a relatively cool start. At least it feels with that north wind going. But overall, temperatures aren't too bad. We're in the mid-60s in La Crosse. Don't discount this Red Wing. I think that is an error. I'm not seeing a hot spot up there with the mid-70s. Overall, most areas are low to mid-60s. But once again, that north wind is really something to keep in mind of. Walking the dog today, it's definitely going to be a nice week to do that just because we're not going to be dealing with the 90s. We might have a free shower here near the noon or just the early afternoons, and then more sun as we go in the afternoon hours, but definitely no 90s to speak of. So overall, we're getting the showers because we got that northerly flow across from that low that's out to the northeast of northeast Wisconsin. So we get that flow, we get the winds, we also have the cloud cover, and it will bring a little bit more shower. We got some west of the area, so that's something to keep in mind of today. But if you look at overall the zone forecast, pretty similar uniform temperatures, mid to upper 70s in most locations with that shower chance that we go on late this morning, early afternoon. Southwest Wisconsin, northeast Iowa, similar conditions, low to mid 70s. Further north, we're looking at similar, once again, cloud cover with more sun this afternoon and then up to the north, probably more cloud cover as you go further north. That'll keep the temperatures down, but once again, a few showers too to be speak of. So that's your first Warren weather update. Jeremy, back to you.
Thanks, Greg. And your consumer news this morning, more than 7 million robotic junior baby shark sing and swim bath toys have been recalled. The U.S. Consumer Product Safety Commission says the toys' hard plastic fins create a risk of impalement, laceration, and puncture injuries. There have been at least a dozen reports of children falling or sitting on the regular-sized toys that have resulted in injuries. Parents who have the recalled toys can contact the manufacturer for a refund. Thousands of Starbucks workers at 150 stores in the U.S. went on strike starting Friday. Starbucks Workers United, which represents the stores, says it's over the coffee chain's restriction of pride decorations. It claims Starbucks banned pride decorations in about 100 locations. Starbucks has denied the claim, saying it is not aware of any company-owned stores that have banned pride decorations. Well, heads up for anyone flying over the 4th of July weekend, you could be facing some delays. That's because airlines have until July 1st to update equipment. The updates are to avoid potential interference from 5G wireless signals, as U.S. wireless companies plan to boost their 5G service to higher power levels. Aircraft that haven't gone through the necessary equipment changes won't be cleared to land in certain weather conditions when visibility is low, starting July 1st. Americans have had a century-long love affair with AM radio, but some new electric vehicles no longer have it. Chris Van Cleve has more on the efforts to keep the airways coming in loud and clear through car radios.
As you approach the McCluggage Bridge...
For nearly 100 years, WMBD has been covering and talking about the news in central Illinois from 1470 on the AM dial, but not anymore for drivers of a number of new electric vehicles. A host of automakers have pulled AM radio tuners from their cars, saying the EV batteries can interfere with reception.
They've been around a long time.
Greg Batten is the Greg in the Dan and Greg Show, heard mornings on WMBD for nearly 20 years.
I'm not worried that we can't adapt to those changes, but it doesn't help when you yank away a few million radios and say, well, those folks can't listen to you ever.
During a hearing on Capitol Hill this month, first responders argued AM radio serves as the backbone of the nation's emergency alert system.
When disaster strikes, no one should lose access to this essential information because the vehicle being driven does not have AM radio.
This has been something that Scott Schmidt from the Trade Association representing automakers told Congress the vast majority of cars still have AM radio, and the decision to pull it from some EVs was not made lightly.
Our members view that there are more options for delivering content and alerts now in vehicles than there ever were.
But that drive to tune out AM radio is prompting unusual bipartisan agreement between the very liberal Senator Ed Markey and the very conservative Senator Ted Cruz. They are now co-sponsoring a bill to require AM radio stay in vehicles. While automakers call the proposed legislation distinctly non-essential, Ford reversed course, dropping plans to remove AM radio from all its new vehicles and will return it to all 2023 EVs in the coming weeks. Ford's Donna Dixon is the lead engineer for the electric Mustang Mach-E.
We talked and listened to our customers, just the customers telling us, hey, there's some emergency broadcast frequencies that still aren't available.
Why take it out at all? It seems like it's not broke, don't fix it kind of problem.
And we'll continue to watch it as we go forward to make sure that it's available.
Mach-E owner Keith Rice is glad to hear it's staying.
I just think there's too many things on AM radio that people still use.
WMBD.
Something that's never far from Greg Batten's mind whenever that on-air light turns red.
There are nearly 4,500 AM radio stations across the country heard by nearly 82 million Americans a week. All right, that's it for your morning consumer news. Let's check in with Greg and today's forecast. Greg.
Yeah, definitely going to be a change to what we've dealt with last week. It's going to be more 80s this week, breezy, cooler conditions, especially today. You'll notice the wind out there with that north wind. We'll have a few showers today, influences of that low. More mild this week, low to mid 80s potentially, and then we do have more rain coming in. It looks like Wednesday through Saturday. It won't be an all-day rain, so definitely still have outdoor plans, not to cancel them yet. Overall, we still in the influences. You can see that northerly flow coming around. You still got a few showers from Minneapolis down to Austin. Otherwise, most of the area is precip free yet, but you have cloud cover, but we're going to see more of that probably fill in as you see out to northeast Wisconsin. There's the showers that we're talking about. If we zoom out, you can see out to the west, not to be much expected. Showers real well to the west in Wyoming. That'll be a thing that we'll watch later in the week. Overall for today, cloud cover will keep those temperatures probably in the mid to upper 70s. We should be in the low to mid 80s, so it'll be a below average day with that north wind. So definitely kind of chilly. Like I said, so we've been used to 90s for quite a bit of time. And then overall tomorrow, more sun, lighter winds, so that'll get us back to average. Most areas will be back into the mid 80s, maybe low 80s further north, but overall better day. Precipitation, this is the background image, is probably since 10 p.m. Saturday night. The actual numbers are from yesterday. A lot of areas picked up at least a half to a quarter of an inch to a half inch. Some of the outlying areas on further side picked up quite a bit more, especially as you go to northeast Wisconsin. So it did help some of the drought issues. What we're looking at for precipitation for this next 7 days, a lot of this is Wednesday and on. We'll look another half to maybe a half inch for most of the areas, with more precipitation to the south and more to the north. So we'll get some more, but still, we're still well behind average for most locations. This will help, but definitely will not get us back to where we should be. Here's a low that's continued to spin to the northeast, but it's going to continue to drift to the east and then fall apart. So once we get past that tomorrow, generally good conditions, a lot of activity out to the west. It's going to fall apart, but eventually as we get closer to late Tuesday into Wednesday, you start seeing some of these waves begin to approach. So we're going to see more showers. Cloud cover probably Tuesday night, and that's the stuff that we're watching for Wednesday's chance for showers and thunderstorms. Once again, not an all-day rain, and even this is a look overemphasized. So once again, pay attention, but we're not expecting any severe weather with any of this either, so that's good news. Cloud cover today, here's your showers coming in with that north wind. So a few showers to dodge this afternoon, but I think once we get late this afternoon, we'll see more sunshine, clearing skies for this evening, so that threat will end for showers. Overnight, temperatures should get back down into the upper 50s, mid 50s, maybe even colder, so definitely will be a cold condition to look at. So overall, if we look at the 8-day forecast, you're seeing all these temperatures going up. We have the showers coming in midweek, and then it looks like dry, but no 90s to speak of. Now we got your history coming up right next, and then more weather after the break.
Welcome to the Morning Blitz. Yesterday was a great day for baseball, and we had a lot of it. We'll start over in Onalaska. The Holmen Features were hosting their first annual Summer Classic amateur baseball tournament. Holmen was into the championship game yesterday, and they were taking on the Viroqua Sox. We even had an area legend, Chuck Hockenberry, throw out the first pitch. He was a big leaguer back in 1975, and he still got it. Gavin Glitzer on the mound for the Sox, and he was dealing early. He gets the UWL power hitter Anthony Vivian to strike out here to end the first inning. And then in the next inning, gets Dylan Westcott swinging for his third strikeout of the second. But they needed some runs to win the game, and with a runner on, Andrew Wedwick, lines went out to center field for a base knock. The ball gets bobbled around. That means Evan Hubach will come in and score. That gives the Sox the lead as they would go on to win 7-6. All right, to the pros. Corbin Burns on the mound with a fresh haircut, but makes a mistake here. Leaves one over the plate for Josh Naylor. He's going to take Burns deep. A solo shot that gives the Guardians the lead. But the Brewers would answer. Christian Yelich continues his hot month of June. He finds the gap in left center field. Joey Weimer will come around from first, and this one is all even at 1. Next batter, and Owen Miller gets a good chunk of this one, sends it to deep right field. It's off the wall. Yelich will come in to score as Milwaukee takes the lead. Now 4-3 in the 6th, and Burns, he's going to give up the lead. A bloop single into left field, and this game is all tied up. We're going to extra innings. In the 10th, it's Miller again, crushes this to deep left field, and it's off the wall again. Joey Weimer rounds third. He's going to come in to score. The Brewers take the lead as they would close this one out and get the win 5-4. That's a series win, and Milwaukee is now 30-4 when they score 5 or more runs. The Twins going for win number 40 on the year and a series win against the Tigers. Scoreless in the 3rd, but Donovan Solano is going to put a change to that. He hits one high and deep to left. That clears the fence for a 2-run shot. Minnesota leads 2-0. Tigers would actually tie this one up, and then with a man on second, Kerry Carpenter lines one to right. Zach McKinstry will score, and just like that, Detroit takes the lead. Twins not out of it yet. 2 men on for Willie Castro. He grounds one to third, but the throw to first goes wide. Royce Lewis will come in to score We're all tied up. This one's also going to extra innings. First batter in the 10th, and Royce Lewis gets one past the glove of the third baseman, Carlos Correa, rounds third. He's looking to score. The throw home is in time, but the catcher can't field it cleanly. Minnesota takes the lead. They would add on a few more as they would go on to win 6-3 in extra innings. A much needed win, and they are now at 40 wins on the year. That'll do it for the Blitz. We'll see you tonight.
The news continues on News 8 Now. Expect more.
Well, scientists across the pond want to get ahead when it comes to outing greenhouse gas emissions from livestock. A pioneering project is underway to breed green sheep. Ian Lee reports.
British farmer Rob Hodgkins hopes to lead his flock to a greener pasture.
You're looking for the needle in the haystack, or that single little black sheep amongst all the white ones.
British scientists are helping with the hunt.
What are you looking for exactly?
So what we're looking for is for animals that tend to be low methane emitters.
Professor Joanne Connington and her team hauled in a special methane machine to find out just how gassy each sheep is.
The animals go into a specific location for about 50 minutes, and there is a gas analyzer on the top which monitors the amount of the methane.
Scientists estimate there are about 1.2 billion sheep around the world, and that they're releasing nearly 8 million tons of methane into the atmosphere every year. The carbon cutting concept came from New Zealand, where researchers selected and bred the world's first low methane emitting sheep, slashing harmful emissions by 16%.
There is something about these animals that are better, more efficient at perhaps digesting their food and growing faster.
Just on the field base.
For Rob, it's a long-term investment that he sees as a good-natured gamble.
I'm sort of effectively taking a bet that in 10 years, some of the big retailers, supermarkets, will be more interested in low methane meat, if you like, meat that has a lower carbon footprint.
Betting the farm on the future of green sheep. Ian Lee, CBS News, Hertfordshire, England.
Farmers hope the pioneering project will reduce emissions from 25% within the next 10 to 15 years. The next time you drive around Philadelphia, you might want to thank any road workers you see. Their around-the-clock effort is why I-95 reopened 6 temporary lanes ahead of schedule. These laborers work 24/7 to repair the overpass. Getting the road up and running again has been a team effort. Neighboring states pitched in to help detour traffic, and even workers from a NASCAR raceway got involved. They drove over a truck-mounted jet dryer so the project could continue if it rained. Senator Tammy Baldwin has announced that the cities of Milwaukee, Kenosha, and the Wisconsin DOT will be receiving nearly $35 million to finish critical transportation infrastructure projects. All three parties will receive the money through the RAISE grant program, which was funded with the help of the bipartisan infrastructure law. The grants will help go toward rebuilding bridges, road equality, and safety.
More gerrymandered.
Wisconsin Governor Tony Evers released a statement ahead of the one-year anniversary of Roe's overturning. Evers says, quote, "Even before the Supreme Court overturned Roe and each and every day since, I've been working to do the right thing to restore the rights of Wisconsin women." Though he has vetoed several bills which would have restricted access to abortions in the state. The governor has also approved a package of bipartisan affordable housing measures. Evers signed 5 bills into law that establish loan programs for builders and landlords. The Republican Budget Writing Committee set aside $525 million to fund the new loans. The laws will also make it easier for developers to get permits for new residencies. This week, the legislature is expected to pass the state budget, which includes funding for the housing projects. State Republicans also passed a plan to cut income tax levels in the state budget. They say the average tax reduction would be 15% or $573 for all filers. The policy change would cut income taxes by $3.5 billion across the board. State Democrats have criticized the proposal, saying it's skewed to benefit the wealthy. The Milwaukee Fire Department honored a historic pair of assistant fire chiefs. They're retiring after decades of service. Their retirement and service to the community is a special kind of historic. Here's more from Milwaukee.
This couple is truly historic. Sharon Purifoy Smoots is the first black woman in the entire state of Wisconsin to rise to the rank of assistant chief. And together, this couple is the highest ranking married couple in U.S. fire history. On Friday, they were honored for their contributions.
I've learned a lot. I'm going to take a lot with me. Thank you for all of the support.
Everything you do in your life is really meant to help other people.
More than 100 firefighters, family members, and friends celebrated a pair of assistant fire chiefs who blazed trails and created change. There were a lot of laughs.
She outranks me to this day. Yeah, but I'm in charge.
And a lot of gifts. Proclamations.
We are fortunate that they graced our city with their expertise, their knowledge, and their compassion.
And honors.
You do deserve every bit of accolade, and you deserve the crowd of people that have assembled here today.
Dr. Dwayne Smoots joined MFD in 1987. Sharon Purifoy Smoots joined in 2003. Chief Aaron Lipsky said they both overcame racial and gender bias to rise to the highest levels of the department.
I've watched them do this with poise and with grace.
Replacing them will be difficult as the department continues to strive for more diversity. Right now, MFD's remaining assistant chief is black, but Lipsky said there are few female captains and no women in leadership roles at the battalion chief level or above.
But we don't have anywhere near a fully representative fire department. We're just not there yet.
Both assistant chiefs had already postponed retirement to help the Milwaukee Fire Department through transition periods. Now they say the time is right to retire to a new home in North Carolina. Alrighty, let's send it over to Greg to tell us what to expect for our morning commute. Greg.
Yeah, going to be a cloudy commute, windy too. Definitely going to feel kind of cool compared to what we've had recently, but still not over that bad. We got a few showers out there, but really right now it's 66 in La Crosse. Once again, we got cloudy conditions with that north wind. Onalaska, very similar. You'll see this pretty much throughout all the places here. We're sitting in the low to mid 60s. Tomah once again 63, 2 degrees. And then as we go to Black River Falls, 64 once again. And then finally to Eau Claire, similar conditions, 63 cloudy conditions with that north wind. So it's overall not a bad commute. Definitely not going to deal with it. Minus, just forget about that 90 in Red Wing. That is a sensor air. It's not 90 degrees there, but we got the low to mid 60s, pretty uniform across it with cloud cover. And once again, like I said, that north wind. Radar, a few showers out to the west towards Rochester. Otherwise, pretty much clear to go. You got to get to northeast Wisconsin where you have the showers, but we may see a few more of those come in. As you can see overall, future track shows some of those showers beginning to approach probably late today, late morning to around noon. A few showers here and there, but overall it should be fairly cloudy and breezy today. And now it's time. That's your first warn weather. And now time for the buzz. Yeah, definitely be a change of pace this week with all the 90s that we've had probably the last week. This will definitely be a refreshing change. Like I said, today, breezy conditions. We got that north wind you'll feel out there, so it feels quite chilly since we've dealt with 90s. We'll have more low to mid 80s, mild conditions for at least the start of the week. And then the rain chances, although it'll start dry, we'll start have rain chances Wednesday through Saturday, although most days will still be dry. Overall, we still got the influences of that low to the east. You can see that northerly winds. You can see the showers continue to flow north to south, so that's what we're dealing with this morning. Although not a lot of showers, more cloud cover as most areas sitting in the low 60s. We zoom out, you can see over to the left right there, there's your low that we've been tracking, and then the one to the west, it actually is fairly good conditions as you go closer to the northern plains and out west. That's what we're going to be looking at for the midweek system. But overall today, cloud cover and a few showers, and that north wind will keep the temperatures probably mid to upper 70s, even low 70s as you go further north in Wisconsin. Once again, we should be around the low 80s, which tomorrow will probably get closer to average with more sun, lighter winds, mid 80s, even low 80s up to the north, but it generally will be a better, pleasant day, more typical of the end of June conditions that we should be expecting. So let's look at the temperature forecast last 2 weeks of La Crosse. Here's your 90s that we were above, so we're above average for most of the period. But as you look at the future, we're going to be barely seasonable, and then towards 4th of July, I think we'll start seeing maybe temperatures get back close to 90 degrees. We'll see if that plays out. As we look at the big picture wise for the low that's pretty much been overhead, it's going to continue to drift to the north, drift to the east. We're finally going to be out of the influences of that. And then we're going to watch what's out west. Looks like kind of a mess. No strong system, but eventually one's going to lift. This wave's going to lift out to the north to the northern plains by Tuesday. And then we're going to watch it track eastward late Tuesday into Wednesday. this is our next chance for rain, and it's really probably going to hold off till maybe Wednesday afternoon and then Wednesday night as it pushes east. Not a big rainmaker, by the way. We're not expecting severe weather with this, but that will be the chance that we're looking at. So hopefully we get more rain. We do, many areas still need it. For today, just cloud cover, a few showers. You can see that passing through. Most of the cloud cover will start breaking up towards this afternoon or this evening. You'll see by 7 p.m. we're back in the 70s, but a lot of cloud cover is gone. Maybe just a shower or two in certain areas, but overall should be a really pleasant evening. And then overnight, mainly clear skies. That'll allow our temperatures to get quite chilly, almost some areas, mid-50s. And then tomorrow, we'll see more temperatures warming up back up with that plenty of sunshine back into the 80s, which is where we should be. So the forecast, as you can see, we're looking at showers today. Rain chances come in midweek, but then next weekend, we're still looking at dry conditions and seasonable. And there's your warm-up coming towards the 4th of July. That's your first warm weather. And now back to you, Jeremy.
All right, thanks, Greg. In our morning buzz report, Doja Cat will be getting more attention as she goes on tour in the fall. The rapper singer will be going on tour with Ice Spice as well as other singers on a 24-date run. Doja Cat has recently come under the spotlight for her new song, Attention. The song talks about commentary from her fans and critics talking about her music. The tour is expected to start on Halloween in San Francisco. The 15-year-old granddaughter of Martin Luther King Jr. is coming out with a picture book, We Dream a World, which will be published by Scholastic in January. Yolanda Renee King says the book is, quote, a love letter in his honor. Reality TV star Kourtney Kardashian and Blink-182 drummer Travis Barker are having a baby. The two posted a video on social media of what appears to be a gender reveal party. This comes after Kourtney held up a sign during a Blink-182 show that said, "Travis, I'm pregnant." He then responded by jumping off the stage and kissing her while the audience cheered. This will not be their first time being parents, as both of them have several children from previous relationships. Before we head to break, it's time to look at today's Look Who's 8.
Yeah, we got Evelyn, who turns 8 months today. She loves being outside, loves animals of all kinds.
Paisley turns 8 years old today. She loves horses and is a, quote, true farm girl.
Abby turns 8 years old today. She loves spending time with her family and friends, as well as swim and play basketball.
Caitlin turns 8 years old today. She loves going to the pool and being with friends. Her favorite subject in school is art.
Gorlock turns 8 years old today. He likes to ride motorcycles and likes eating Taco John's.
Dominic turns 8 years old today. He loves anything sports related, his favorite sport being basketball. He also loves camping and being outdoors.
I think the winner today is Joanne, turns 88 years old today. She enjoys spending time with her family, flowers, a good cup of coffee, and some delicious cake, which I could use right now.
I agree with you on that one. If you know a special someone turning 8 months, 8 years, 18, 80, or 88 years old soon, we'd love to feature them.
That's right. Just upload your photo to our website, news8000.com, and look for the Submit Picture button under the Home tab on our website.
Stay with us. We have everything you need to know today in 5 minutes or less. Your morning news now is up next. Welcome back. A Winona mom was remembered by loved ones at a memorial service in Winona. 27-year-old Madeline Kingsbury went missing in March after dropping off her kids at daycare. Investigators found her remains earlier this month. Adam Frable, the father of Madeline's children, was arrested hours later. Now a community honors her memory. Kingsbury's memorial service was held at Winona State University. Madeline's loved ones spoke at the ceremony honoring the woman she was and the life she lived. We have new details about a child's death on La Crosse's north side. A teen is now in custody in connection to the death. La Crosse police say they arrested a 16-year-old on charges of first-degree intentional homicide in connection to the death. They are not releasing the suspect's name. Police were called to a home on the city's north side on the evening of June 14th. They did not release the identity or age of the child who died. Police say the investigation is ongoing. The Wisconsin Department of Justice released more information about the officer-involved shooting in Genoa. The DOJ says Vernon County Sheriff deputies were called to a home near Highway 35 in Genoa for a welfare check. Deputies saw 61-year-old William Boardman leaving the home, and they pulled him over for a traffic stop. According to the DOJ, Boardman tried driving away with Deputy Jonathan Brown standing on the vehicle's running board. Brown told Boardman several times to watch, which Boardman ignored. Brown then shot Boardman, who was pronounced dead on the scene. Deputy Brown has been placed on administrative assignment while the DOJ investigation continues. Part of Central High School opened up again this week after a fire forced the district to close the building. According to the La Crosse School District, building crews are working with Xcel Energy and fire officials to reopen the Hackett Addition. Summer school classes, sports practices, lessons, and other activities will start up again today. The district asked that everyone use the Travis Street doors, as the rest of the high school will remain closed until further notice.
This is the biggest event in the fishing world.
The 14th annual High School Fishing World Finals and National Championship was held in La Crosse. Hundreds of anglers from around the world went head-to-head on the Mississippi River, catching bass for millions of dollars in college scholarships. La Crosse first hosted this tournament in 2020, but this time around, competitors got a real taste of what La Crosse has to offer.
The community has just had overwhelming support, and I know it's hard because all of a sudden 4,000 people descend on your local boat ramp and the streets are packed and all. Sometimes it's not a lot of fun, but La Crosse has really done well. The community's really welcomed these families here, and we appreciate it.
Cartledge says the week-long tournament brought about 4,000 people to the area.
And yeah, we're looking at kind of a breezy and cool day, maybe a few showers late morning, around noon, more sun this evening, but otherwise it's definitely going to feel different. There's your high temperatures, upper 70s for most, mid 70s, more cloud cover as you go further east. Clearer skies tonight. You see those temperatures actually getting in the 40s in some of the colder spots, so definitely be kind of chilly as we've looked out for the 90s we've had lately. And then overall, we're going to see more rain chances coming midweek with a dry weekend ahead too.
Nice, nice. Well, hey, at least the weather's warm.
No 90s anymore.
I'm sad about that. I love 90-degree temperatures.
They're tired of that.
But we are looking at some sunshine more so towards the back end of the week.
Exactly, and we do need more rain, and we're going to get another chance probably midweek, so that's a positive news. But we all could use more rain just because of the drought conditions, especially as you go further south. So that's good news. And once again, it's going to be a nice week compared to what we've had with the 90s that we had probably for the last week and a half.
Nice, nice. You know, I still cannot believe that we are, what is it, a week away from July 4th? A week away, folks?
July 4th. And I think with the 8-day doesn't show it, but after the 8-day we get off that, looks like the temperatures are going to come back up to the 90s. So it may be a hot condition as we get closer to July 4th. That could change, but right now the trend does look warmer right now.
I like it. I like it. Well, thank you so much. Don't forget to keep up with the news of the day on news8000.com.